Hi guys, I'm Lewis. This is episode 4. Today we're cooking meatballs with tomato ragu, so follow along and I hope you enjoy. So to start off with, we're going to do the onion and garlic. So I don't know if you want to both follow along with me, we can do it together. Best way we're going to do it is if you just separate it from layers. Usually if you're at home, you're going to have an onion that has a little top on. You can cut it in half and peel it. And then obviously just dice it up that way. Obviously we want quite a fine dice. So if we slice this into nice little thin strips, and then when you've gone the thin strips, if we go back the opposite way, so you've got a nice little bunch like this, so we're doing a nice fine little dice. But if you work through all that onion and get it all nicely diced, and then once it's finished, go straight into the bowl. The next thing is going to be the garlic. There's lots of different ways you can cut the garlic. You can slice it if you want to do like a stir fry or something, you can just cut it into nice little slices. The best way I like doing it is just to put the knife on it, make sure the blade's facing down, and just crush it. And then we can just slice it through. It's going to be a nice little dice, basically automatically. And then literally, once it's done this, you can break it up to little bits if you want. And we're just going to run the knife through it so you've got a nice little dice. If it is still quite chunky, you can do the same as the onion and just run the knife back through it. And exactly the same technique. Keep your fingers nice and clawed over so you're not going to catch the tip of your fingers. So once you've done the garlic, if you want to add that into the bowl as well, we're just getting all the ingredients basically ready for our meatballs. And after that, the next bit we're going to do is the parsley. The best we can do is just basically bunch it up into little bunches. So if you get a nice little pile of it and basically just try and roll it so you get a nice little condensed pile, a bit like that. And then you can just basically do exactly the same you've done with the onion and garlic. It's just basically the technical term would be chiffonade, is just run your knife through it. So you've got like a nice little slice. It's a little bit harder to cut than the onion and garlic. So you've got a lot of different leaves there all together. But just do what you feel comfortable. Take your time. When that's all done, we'll just add that straight into the bowl as well. So obviously you've got your onion, garlic and parsley all cut in one bowl. And if you look at your little tray, we've got some parmesan, some breadcrumbs, a little splash of milk and a little bit of salt. So if we add that all into this bowl, just pour it all straight in, it's fine. And it should leave you with a little ball of mozzarella on your boards. And what we're going to do is we're going to add this minced beef straight into what we've already got. Put our gloves on and just slowly work it all together. It might take a little bit, obviously, for the breadcrumbs to absorb a little bit of the liquid and stuff like that. And then once it's all incorporated, we'll make little meatballs. At this stage, if you wanted to spice it up, you could add stuff like cumin or chili powder or some fresh cut chilies if you wanted, depending what flavour meatballs you wanted. Then once you've done all that, if you want to get your white boards down from underneath. So I would basically just portion it out so it's roughly all the same size and just do it in rough balls for now, just so we can roll them afterwards. Then once you've portioned it, the best you can do is just roll it between your hands, put a little bit of pressure on until it's nice and smooth. Then we'll just put them on the board all nicely. You sometimes have to put a bit of extra pressure on it and then slowly release and you'll get a nice sort of condensed meatball. You'll almost press it a little bit too hard and it will come together nicely. If you don't have gloves at home, you could also just wet your hands slightly. So I have made a tomato sauce for you guys, but I'm going to obviously show you how to make the tomato sauce basically. With oil, most of the time in recipes, unless it's incorporated into something, I wouldn't really weigh it. It's just going to be a little drizzle. So for the tomato sauce, we're just going to go in with the onion and garlic. The recipe says 1 onion and then half it's for the meatballs, and half it's just in here. And we're just going to basically sweat this off. And as you can see, the onions are slowly starting to go like a transparent-y colour. And then once we get to that stage, literally, your tin of chopped tomatoes, you literally just want to add to this. Obviously, chopped tomatoes are going to be very wet. Turn the heat down so we can just slowly simmer it. And we're just going to leave that just to infuse and stuff like that. Obviously then our meatballs. So we're going to pan fry our meatballs off. You want sort of like a high heat. And the best thing, you don't want to add your meatballs to the pan and let the pan be cold. So best thing you do is just hold your hand above it when you can feel the heat through the other side. We're just going to place our meatballs in the pan. This is why, like, if you made a big meatball at home, the best thing you could do is obviously whack it, seal it off and then put it in the oven and bake it. Obviously for this purpose, we've just done like a nice even style meatball. We should be able to cook this through all in a pan without having to use an oven tray and pop it in the oven and stuff like that. So about 10 minutes in a pan, just slowly turning them around and cooking them. Obviously, if it was a bigger meatball, you're probably talking more like 15. But then what you can do at home is you could seal these off so they've got a nice little colour all round, and then add your tomato sauce to this. I'm just going to keep giving these a nice little golden colour, and then when they're all nicely sealed, we're just going to add that tomato sauce. We'll turn this down a nice little bit. These have been cooking for about 4 minutes at the moment. Obviously the sauce is there. Obviously now it's got quite reduced. So we sort of want it a little bit less reduced than that. The best thing you can do at home is basically just add a little bit of pasta water. Also, we are going to have to season this at the end, and we'll mix that mozzarella in. But obviously the mozzarella will add a bit of natural saltiness. And what we're going to do is, as this is now finishing off, we'll add the mozzarella, and it will just make that sauce nice and creamy as it melts. Because if you wanted to, you could basically meal prep this and get it to this point, cool it down, and then just bake it through the oven with all the cheese and stuff. So as that's just finishing off, I'm going to quickly just strain this off. See, at home you can just carry this to a sink and then just pour it straight through the sink. And then we'll come round to the front and I'll plate up, and you guys can then all come round afterwards. My tomato sauce could probably be done with a little bit of extra water, but it's all okay. Quite a nice little simple meatball dish. Hope you enjoyed following along, so join us next time for different recipes and ideas.